painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking. KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Artbeat. Artbeat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Artbeat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
All right, welcome to Artbeat. Excuse me. We have a special live edition of Artbeat today. I don't know if any of you listeners out there realize this, but most of the time Artbeat is pre-produced, so pre-recorded. So, we might do it on a Wednesday or a Thursday or a Friday, and it airs on Tuesday at 12:30. But today, we have a live version of the show. We have 3 guests in the studio with us today. They are from the Winona State University Theater and... Is it theater and dance or theater and art? Well, let's see. You can answer as soon as I figure out which microphones you guys are on. And I think I've got it. There we go. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
All right, great. We have you guys here. I always get a little bit confused with the WSU THAD. Is it theater and dance?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yes. Yeah. All right, there we go. We're here to promote a musical that's happening this weekend called All Together Now. How about we go, and I have 3 of the members of the cast here in the studio today. Should we go around? Let's go around. We'll start over here, and you guys just introduce yourselves.
All right. Hello. Name's Giovanni Bermudez.
Okay.
I am Sonora Goldoff.
Mm-hmm.
And I am Noah Nelson.
All right. So, let's see if I can remember those. Giovanni. Sonora?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, boy. 3. Nelson is your last name, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the first name.
Noah.
Noah! N-N. Cool. All right, so we have Giovanni, Sonora, and Noah. So it's a musical, from my understanding. It's called All Together Now. Like we were just talking a little bit ago before we turned the mics on, that this is a fundraiser for the theater, kind of a post-COVID fundraiser. You're able to perform these songs without paying royalties so that you guys can keep the money and do something good for the theater and in turn the community. So, can one of you tell me a little bit about a little bit more about the show? Like, what can we expect to see? I mean, so it's a musical, so there's going to be music. Is it all just music? Is there other parts to it? What's going down with it?
Basically, yes. It's very different because MTI is a company that licenses out a bunch of popular Broadway musicals for different theaters to perform. And so what All Together Now is a collection of songs from pre-existing Broadway musicals. Some you may recognize. There's popular ones like Newsies, High School Musical included in there. Then there's some lesser-known ones as well. But it's basically just a bunch of songs put together meant as a celebration of the return of live theater.
Nice. So really... Oh, go ahead, Sonora.
No, I was just going to say it's more of like a musical review is what it's advertised as, because it's not necessarily one plot. It's all the songs thrown together.
Right, but the songs carry an overarching theme.
Yeah.
Instead of there being an actual story, you can kind of see the themes of the events of the past year and how we're recovering from that finally.
Okay, interesting. So it's kind of general, but yet specific in certain layers to the theme, perhaps. Noah, thank you so much for talking. A little behind the scenes here, I was running around placing the mics in different positions, so thank you so much for that fantastically descriptive description, I guess. Detailed description is what I was looking for. Live is always fun, I've done this a few times. Noah and Sonora, were you guys here last time? I don't think so. No, and neither was Giovanni. So 3 totally new people. But I love doing stuff with the theater people here because, I don't know, we just always have a blast doing it. And live is super fun. So, anyway, so how about specifically, let's go around the room. We'll start with Giovanni here. What's your favorite tune that's being performed?
Honestly, I would say Seize the Day.
Seize the Day. Okay, and what's that from originally?
I believe it's called Newsies.
Newsies.
Oh, okay. I know the song too. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I've never seen the show myself. However, I rather enjoy the way it kind of shifts from a slow, almost desolate melody to an upbeat and I'm going to say rebellious song.
Okay.
And the dance break in between is just fantastic.
It's something.
Nice.
I'm surprised how well we got it in that short amount of time.
Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of dancing in that show. Another thing that we didn't do earlier, Giovanni, so what numbers are you taking part in, or are you all in all of it?
There are group numbers.
Okay.
And there's like a lot of those. There's probably only like 3 songs that I'm not in.
Not in. Okay, sure.
And that's just because they're solo songs. But then there's like...
I think I'm in 5. I know I'm in the first one, and there's like all I don't want to give away all the songs that are in the show.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this show too is that everyone gets at least 2 solos.
Yeah.
We've got a cast of about 13, and everyone gets their moment in the spotlight.
Nice.
Well, and doubling back to your question about like the musical, what it is, we have all the songs, but then we also have some parts that are just speaking. There's like an intro speech, and then in the middle, we all kind of recount why we started theater.
Oh, nice.
And so each person has their own story, and so each person gets like to talk about that too.
Ooh.
Just a side note about that, how everyone gets their own solo. One thing I love about this is even people who this is their first performance, I think there's at least 2, including me, it gives them an opportunity to really get out on stage and present themselves. They're not just in the background the entire time.
Okay, sure.
And I find that to be a little unorthodox, but I love it.
Okay, nice. Well, it sounds like there's I like that there's speaking parts, kind of connecting the dots for people, and I absolutely love that you break it down in the middle and talk about like your own personal journey, like how you got into it. In fact, and I know I started a question before with Giovanni with your favorite number. We'll come back to that, but how about, can you give us a little peek into your own, speech of like how you, don't do the whole thing for us, but just give us a synopsis of it, just a summary of it. Who wants to start? How about we start over here with Noah this time?
Yeah, well, my story is a little funny because
I love funny.
I initially joined theater in high school because I wanted to meet girls. I'm just being completely honest.
Honest
here.
Answer, yes.
But as I became more and more involved in theater productions, I just found a huge passion for it, and just built a community that became like family.
Right. I love your answer, Noah, because I can relate to that. That's in fact part of the reason I got into music. And but I quickly learned that, oh my gosh, I have a real passion for this, and those other thoughts just kind of faded away pretty quickly, really, because it does, when you get into some sort of artistic endeavor that involves other people, it often grows into that family kind of group feeling. I love that. Sonora, how about you? What's kind of the summary of how you got here?
Well, so what I say in the musical is kind of like a shorter version, but my mom and I had a tradition where every year we'd go and see a musical together at like the Overture Center of Madison, and we would go every year, and I was like, this is awesome. And then my school was doing Lion King, and I was like, I have to.
Nice.
Lion King, oh my goodness. And then there was just this girl who was choosing volleyball like over theater, and I just couldn't imagine. So I was like, no, absolutely not. Theater is it.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. There was something I was going to ask about that. I'll come back to it though. It'll come back to me for sure. Giovanni, how about you? What's your story of how you got here?
Mine was also a little reduced in the course of the show. And it's a little odd. I played video games a lot when I was a kid, but I always loved the villains. I thought, okay, I kind of relate more with the villains. So I thought, what was a way where I can put myself into that? And I thought, okay, what if I became a voice actor for these games? Because you can catch me doing stupid little monologues from the games or books I've read, when I'm alone. But what I branched from that was I looked up how can you start to become a voice actor, and I came across Tom Kenny. Surprisingly, I'm surprised by how many people don't know who he is. His most famous role was probably the voice of SpongeBob. But he gave advice that really stuck with me. He said if you wanted to be a voice actor, start out as an actor, and you can work your way from there.
Right.
And so I put myself towards theater, and I'm honestly loving the performing aspect of it.
Wow, that is awesome. Between the three of you, we have quite a range of ways you got into it. I love the detailed, I want to do this, how do I get there? And you're kind of plotting it out, and from that all the way to, I wanted to meet girls and be popular or whatever it is, to like a tradition with your mother, that kind of grows into something else. And I tell you what, they all seem like totally different paths, but really it's kind of about the same thing, isn't it? Once you get into it, I heard you all say that, but I found that I really love this, and really love doing it. That's really cool. I just want to let folks know out there, we are talking to some of the cast of All Together Now. It's a musical review that's being done at the Dufresne Performing Arts Center this weekend on November 12th, 13th, and 14th. Let's see, showtimes are 7:30 on the 12th and 13th. That's Friday and Saturday. And then on Sunday, the 14th, there is a matinee at 2 p.m. You can get tickets at the door 1 hour before the show, up to the show. And how much are tickets again? Do you guys know?
$5 for students and $15 for general public.
Copy that.
Roger. Over, under. I had to write those down. That was a little pause there. So let's see. What else? See, live, you get stuck sometimes, and you're like, oh, boy, what do I do? Oh, where's the parachute? How about, we didn't finish the question of favorite numbers. So, Sonora, how about you? Do you have a favorite number other than something you're in? Or it could be something you're in as well. Either way.
Okay. I don't know. I am such a fan of musical theater music. Each number has its own little tinge in my heart.
Right.
I love Seasons of Love, and just when we're all standing there singing it together, and it's the end of the show, and it's just we did that.
Nice.
I love that. But there's also, I'm in a quartet, and just I think that we have a really good group, the four of us, where when we hit our harmonies, it's just it gives me chills, and I'm on stage singing with them, and I'm oh yes.
Oh, I love it.
And I just think the harmonies in that song are so awesome.
It's so fun to work with other people in that realm, isn't it? When you get something clicking like that between different people, ooh, that is a good feeling. Yeah. Very much so. Noah, how about you? What's your maybe favorite number out of the show?
Like Giovanni, I'm a big fan of Seize the Day from Newsies.
Nice.
One, that's where I have my big solo. And that's really exciting for me because singing is always an aspect of theater that I've always struggled with a bit, but I've been working to improve my singing capabilities, and just having that first solo in Seize the Day, like we mentioned earlier, really gives me the opportunity to, show what I can do, as many people have their own little opportunities, and the dancing's so fun.
Cool.
But I also love, and I'm not singing this number, but the quartet that Sonora mentioned, she and three others do this song called The New World from a lesser known musical called Songs from a New World.
Okay.
And I had never heard the song before getting cast in this musical, but it's just a beautiful song, and the four of them really just nail it. It's really nice to hear every night.
Right. Nice. Noah, you mentioned something that I had thought about earlier too. The singing aspect of this. Oftentimes I'll think of theater and be like, oh yeah, acting, acting. That's in the forefront of my mind. But there is so much more to that with singing, dancing, and I don't even know what else, but I'm sure there's a lot of other pieces that I don't even think about because it's not something that I do. Is that scary to like sing by yourself up there? I mean,
not really, because it's we all have the passion for this, and so yeah, obviously we've worked very hard on really perfecting these musical numbers, and so I think we've all built up the confidence to really go out there and give it our all and put on a great performance every time we step onto that stage. And like you said, there's so much more to it. Acting is involved with it too, because if you're just standing there and singing but your face is blank, like the audience isn't going to be interested. So we're still playing characters within each song, and
yeah. You have to do that, right? I mean, it's much more than just notes. There's a whole feeling and that you have to convey to the audience. What about accompaniments? Like, what kind of accompaniments are we expecting here? Is it like pre-recorded stuff? Oh, really? Oh boy.
Well,
tough subject.
So MTI has provided us with performance tracks, like pre-recorded.
Right.
So we don't have a live pit. And there's been some challenges with that. The performance tracks are also some of them are slightly different, some of them are very different from the tracks that we rehearsed with, because we just got the performance tracks last week.
Wow.
To start working with those. And we had to adjust tempo in places. We had to make some cuts in the recordings because there was some cases where there was more music than what we had choreographed, stuff like that. So, but we all picked up on those changes that had to be made pretty fast.
Right.
Yeah, we've been doing a really good job, like, adjusting to it, I think. But it was different than what we originally rehearsed with, so it was a challenge for sure.
Yeah. And I think, picking things up quickly and on the fly is kind of part of the job description, right? Yeah. In a way. So what did you guys rehearse to before you got these backing tracks? Was it just like the soundtrack CD or something from, different productions, or?
We've had the rehearsal tracks since
so that you
the
had
beginning.
rehearsal tracks.
But that, it was on an app, and it clunked out the notes that we were supposed to sing. And I mean, it was really cool because you could take out the other parts and only listen to your part on your own.
Nice.
And so it was helpful.
Right.
But then these performance tracks
they're slightly different.
It's just like what you would have a pit do, basically.
Right.
And just some of them were so different where like Noah was saying, where there were pieces added or the speed is different.
Yeah.
We had 2 or 3 songs where they picked up in tempo so fast, and we're all like,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so they're kind of throwing you for a loop there. Really, can't you send the same tempo at least? That's funny.
You got to give respect to the performers in this musical. They had caught on very fast to the differences, and I think we got to give credit to. I cannot remember who actually adjusted those tracks so that we could to what we were.
Bob, our sound guy.
Bob
he helped.
Stuber? Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, he helped edit some of the tracks so that we could, get a tempo closer to what we were used to, and
right. You
stuff
remember
like
"Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat" the first time with that? That was
really fast.
Yeah, "Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat" is an interesting number, but we've worked that one a lot, and I think it's in a good spot right now. So
that one kind of makes me think of what you were asking about singing in a solo. I get scared of singing in a group because if you mess up and everyone else is on what they're supposed to be doing, then it's that's when it's noticeable. Because if you're singing a solo, it's no one will know that I just sang the wrong words. It's my solo.
Right.
when you're in a
But when it's
group and when
with-
it's sit down, you're rocking the boat and it's going super fast, like
Right.
you know if you messed up.
Well, and there's also very sharp choreography with that
Yeah.
one as well, and that's another spot where if you're in a group and one person messes up, then it just doesn't look right.
Right.
So, yeah.
Are there outtakes? Are there any did any of you have like a cell phone out and during rehearsal and be like, well, let's just document these first couple tries?
Yes, I know the
Yeah.
stage managers. At least one of them did film us
We
dancing.
did, yeah. We have a recording.
At least
but-
one. It was like in somewhere in the middle of our rehearsals. Like it wasn't towards the end. It wasn't at the
It
beginning.
was just so that we had a reference of the
Right.
choreography.
Yeah.
right. And
It would
here's
be
the
fun
thing.
to watch, though, wouldn't it?
Watching those now, you can see how far we've come.
Yeah.
Right.
And we can look back and be like, wow, I cannot believe how far we advanced. And we can kind of look back and kind of be like, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like looking down the mountain, right, and being, holy cow, how did I climb up this high? You know, I like Sonora. I like your answer about the favorite number when you said the last one, where you're like, oh my gosh, we just did this. You know, I feel a theme going on here with, you know, like Noah said, you know, like when you got into theater and you realized, oh, this is like a family like feeling here, that feeling of accomplishment that, you know, Giovanni and Sonora, you guys are talking about with like Sonora, that end tune where it's just like, oh my God, we did it, you know, and you know what you're talking about here, Giovanni. Yeah, is that, and so do you guys plan on going further with theater past school here, or?
Yeah, I'm studying as a theater major
Okay.
here at Winona, and my dream is to either act or write plays.
Ooh, nice.
So...
Do you have anything in the works that you've written or working on, or?
Oh, I've always got tons of ideas.
Nice. True writer, then.
Yeah, rattling around the brain. Last year, actually, I did a staged reading of a play I wrote that Sonora actually started.
Oh,
which
cool.
is super fun.
Awesome. Well, what year are you guys? Let's go around the room here. Giovanni, what year are you in school?
Sophomore.
Sophomore?
I'm
Sonora?
a sophomore as well.
I am a super senior.
That just means you're extra good at it, right? That's what I like to
Sure,
think.
let's go with that.
Been doing it longer.
You're working on honing those writing skills. You're just not quite ready for the world to, well, maybe the world's not quite ready, right?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go with that.
Okay, I'm here. We have a few minutes left, but I just want to let folks know I'm here talking to some of the cast from All Together Now. It is a musical review show that's being put on at Winona State here at the Dufresne Performing Arts Center this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Saturday on the 12th and 13th, the performances are at 7:30 p.m. Sunday the 14th, there's a 2 p.m. matinee, and you can get tickets at the door up to 1 hour before the show. It's $5 for students and $15 for the general public. So, yeah. Let's see. How about, I was thinking about those outtakes, like it would be fun to see, because we're talking about, how far you've come, where'd you come from, things like that. It would be kind of fun to see, or at least for me anyway, if I was taking part in this. I think it'd be kind of fun to see, maybe a little embarrassing, but I find that fun sometimes. Fun to see what we were like a month ago in this or whatever, How long have you been working on this show?
Since the beginning of October.
Okay, yeah. So, I think it'd be fun to see that stuff. Are there any moments that you guys remember that were like, oh my, I can't believe that just happened, or,
There was... No, you go first. Go ahead.
I lost my train of thought. I just want to tie it back to like a philosophy I stick with me. There's an old philosophy I know of that says with every forest fire, there's ashes that are left behind that a new forest grows. And I think... it really ties into that, because I'm not gonna lie, at least for myself, I was awful at the start of this, and I wouldn't say I'm perfect now, but I think I really made those advancements in the last month. A good portion is because the cast has been very supportive when I make mistakes. I was very hard on myself, and they're very uplifting in the, it's just a mistake, just do better next time.
Right. Well, if you did it perfect the first time, there'd be nowhere to grow, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What I was going to say about the outtakes,
right.
there was one of my favorite quotes. We were doing Seize the Day. We're all in like a clump with our fists up.
Right.
And then Heather's like giving us some direction. and someone lets out a fart.
Oh.
And I'm not going to point fingers, but we all have our assumptions on who it was.
Why'd you look at me?
But the funniest part was, like, someone's like, oh, someone just ripped it. And, like, we're all, like, smelling it. Heather starts moving away from our clump, and we're all like, what the heck? And someone says, why would you fart in a clump? And that was just so funny, and we all lost it.
And it's still a mystery of who the culprit is.
Yes, a mystery.
Why do you keep looking at me?
Because when you say, no, guys, it's just a bodily function, but it wasn't me.
I didn't say that. All right. Well, we're
Well,
remembering
maybe
things.
she's just looking at you because you're sitting next to her right now.
We're
Giovanni's
remembering
also
things
sitting next to me, but I'm not looking at him.
All right.
Well, we're in pretty close quarters here, so let's just move on from that question and not let that happen. Let's see. How about really proud moments? Was there anything where you saw your peers do that you were like, oh man, that is so cool? Like, you know, either seeing each other grow into a part or really overcome something that they were struggling with. Is there any moments like that you can remember?
There's one song that actually, you know, I'm going to say this for all the solos, like where it's not just a part of a song, it's the entire song. I give credit to those people because not only do they have to remember their parts in every other song, they have to remember that whole song on their own. They're on stage alone, and like you said, if they mess up, I guess they can try and fudge out the mistake, but that's not always the case. And the thing is, when you're on stage alone, the movements and motions they have to learn, you can't really filter out those mistakes like you could in a group. And I want to give credit to those people who really have these whole songs to themselves. They are astounding. Now, I will say this. My favorite of the solos is She Used to Be Mine. That brings me to tears. And the way that, I'm drawing blanks on a name. Jensen sings it is gorgeous. It just really tugs at your heartstrings.
Nice.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing with the solos because, you know, to make effective use of our time in rehearsal, not every single person is called when the director wants to work on a solo with someone. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden we would come into rehearsal and just hear them do the solo. Like we're not there when they're initially working through it, blocking and singing wise. But then it's just incredible, and I feel like we also need to give immense credit to Aaliyah, who sings the song Meadowlark, which is like 6 minutes long, and it's a solo.
Oh, wow.
Not only that, there's a trio beforehand where it's Aaliyah and then myself and Caitlin, and we all do that trio. That one's like 3 minutes long. And then Caitlin and I go off stage. She goes straight into Meadowlark, that's 6 minutes long. And then right after Meadowlark, we don't have that number. Like, but it's just like all happening at once for her. And it's just,
so she's got a little marathon section in there.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. How about the dancing? Were you guys already used to... Oh, we're almost out of time. I just want to ask this one more question, though. We'll go a little bit over. It's okay. The dancing. The dancing. Is that difficult? Because to me, I always think, you know, I watch some of these, even just, you know, music performers and the way they move around on stage and stuff. Like, is that difficult to get that down, the choreography and the vocals at the same time? Like,
absolutely. We were talking earlier about the number "Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat." That is one we had to drill because it's simple movement, but it's very sharp and in unison, and the song is a difficult one to sing as well because the speed of it.
And the solo doesn't necessarily match up with what everyone else is singing. So it's like knowing when you sing.
Right, yeah, yeah. I always find that interesting, the rhythm of things, you know, the phrasing of the voice and then the movements of the body, like, whoo! I commend all of you guys for doing this type of work. I mean, to me, it's super impressive, just anyone who does it. Period, you know. But this sounds like a fantastic show. Just to let folks know out there, we're kind of out of time, so we're going to kind of wrap it up here. But we are talking to some of the cast from All Together now. It's a musical review that's being performed at the Dufresne Performing Arts Center here at the Winona State University campus this weekend, Friday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m., Sunday the 14th at 2 p.m. You can get tickets at the door up to 1 hour before, and $5 for students and $15 for adults. So, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to bring the music in here a little bit. And yeah, I'm not sure. There's a voice that's going to come in here, and yeah, my boss would be disappointed in me that I'm not reading the right counter, but I'm so focused on you guys. This was such a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and I look forward to the performance and speaking with you again sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Heartbeat is written and produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.